as fussiness, crying, or inability to complete a qualifying requirement. In some cases, certain results were excluded because a child's behavior was substantially different from the majority of those studied. So, if you attempt an experiment, but your baby is not able to complete it, or your results are quite different from those described in the study, don't worry. It's not out of the ordinary. In adapting published, peer-reviewed academic studies to parent-friendly exercises that require no special equipment or training, I've had to take some liberties that may affect the degree to which your results line up with those of the source material. For instance, in most published studies, children are separated into groups, and each group is assigned a different condition. One group is the test group, and another is the control group, allowing the researchers to compare the results across the two groups. In many of the projects in this book, you'll instead conduct all of the conditions on the same child, your baby, separating each trial by a length of time. The former methodology is, of course, preferred in professional contexts. But because this is a book of at-home experiments, it's more practical for parents to simply repeat the experiments rather than recruit a bunch of neighborhood babies for a well-controlled study. If you happen to have identical twins on hand, you can more closely replicate the control and test model. Then again, you might not have that much free time. As you work through the 50 experiments in this book, I hope they give you new insight into the various fields of child development. But most important, I hope you come away with many new insights into your own amazing little science projects. 1. Soothing Scents. Age range 0 to 1 month. Experiment complexity simple. Research area sensory development. The experiment. Sometimes when your baby gets upset, nursing, which has a calming effect, isn't an option, such as when dad's on baby duty while mom takes a nap or a shower. If you have stored breast milk to use for a bottle, try placing a few drops on a cotton cloth. Then place the cloth a few inches from your baby's nose. The hypothesis? The scent of the breast milk, to which your baby has been naturally familiarized through nursing, will have a soothing effect on her. She will cry, grimace, and flail less than a baby who has been exposed to an unfamiliar scent or no scent at all. The research. In a 2005 study, newborns were split into 4 groups. Babies in the first group had been naturally familiarized to the scent of their mother's breast milk. The second group of babies were familiarized to a vanilla scent through repeated exposure. The other 2 groups were not familiarized to any scent. On the 3rd day after birth, while getting blood drawn in a heel stick procedure, infants in the first 2 groups were exposed to the scents they had been familiarized toward, breast milk for the first group and vanilla for the second. Infants in the 3rd group were also exposed to a vanilla scent, but for them it was an unfamiliar scent. And infants in the 4th group were not exposed to any scent. The researchers found that the babies in the first 2 groups cried less and showed less distress after the heel stick procedure than the babies in the other 2 groups. They also found that babies in the milk condition exhibited fewer flailing movements. It should be noted, however, that infant formula does not appear to have the same effect as breast milk, at least not for breastfed babies. In a 2009 study, newborns who were undergoing a routine heel stick procedure were exposed to the scent of their own mother's breast milk, another mother's breast milk, or formula. Only the infants exposed to the scent of their own mother's milk showed lower distress compared with the control group. The takeaway. Using familiar scents to calm your baby is a great tool to have in your quiver of soothing techniques. But don't let that be your only go-to move. Other effective ways to soothe your baby include skin-to-skin contact, nursing,